This is Brent, president of B2C Fitness, and in this video we're doing our dynamic pec stretch as well as getting a little bit of subscapularis involvement. If we're doing our dynamic stretching in this video, I'm going to assume that you've already done your release techniques for pectoralis minor and subscapularis if necessary, that we've already done static stretching to return an adaptively shortened muscle back to its optimal length. We've used active stretching to reinstate optimal reciprocal inhibition and work on end range strength. And now we're working on optimizing neuromuscular control at the tempo of daily activity, or at the tempo of sporting activity. I'm going to have my friend Laura come out and help me demonstrate this exercise for, once again, pec, dynamic stretching, as well as some subscapularis. Now this ball I have in my hand is just filled with sand. It's a medicine ball. It weighs about 4 pounds. Go ahead and kneel down there. I'm going to have Laura get into a kneeling position first, just because it's a nice stable position for this initial pattern, or this initial progression. You guys will see that in dynamic stretching we progress in one of two ways. Either we progress through complexity and stability, that's that increased neuromuscular control, or we're going to increase in tempo, which I'm sure you guys have done in the past. So the first thing Laura's going to do, an easy way to get a little bit of pec stretching, is just to go through our PNF pattern. You guys will note that in a PNF pattern, keep going here, Laura. In a PNF pattern, providing she keeps her scapula depressed, her scapula is still going to upwardly rotate and posteriorly tilt, putting a stretch on her pectoralis minor. Of course, she's going through horizontal abduction and external rotation, so we know we get a lot of pec major stretching in there as well. And our subscapularis as an adductor and internal rotator is also getting stretched in this. Now, her first progression, and she has great neuromuscular control here. She has a nice drawn-in maneuver here. Her glutes are nice and tight in this position. I could just have her speed up. If I wanted to progress her nice and simple, I'd just be like, all right, Laura, go ahead and start nice and slow, and as it feels better, I want you to go ahead and speed up this movement pattern. Now, if I wanted to increase the amount of neuromuscular control this takes, I could start adding in other joint motion. So what I'm going to have you do this time is I'm going to have you reach down and touch this toe so that you're turning in and flexing at the spine, and then you're going to reach back out and stretch. Good. So now we made this movement pattern a little larger. She's getting a bigger stretch through her trunk. She's actually getting a little bit of glute work here on her right side, so I'm working that cross motor pattern. How does that feel?
Good.
Feel like you're starting to loosen up a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. I can take this another step, real easy step. Just have her stand up. So I'm going to have Laura go ahead and stand up. She's going to mind her kinetic chain checkpoints. So for this first one, I'm just going to have you feet parallel to each other. Good. Drawn in, glutes tight. And she's just going to go back through that PNF pattern. Of course, in this position, you guys are going to need to pay more attention to what's going on here. In a standing position, she's going to be a little less stable. All right, so once again, we can have her start off nice and slow. Go ahead and start speeding up as she feels warm. Good. And of course, Laura looks great doing this. I can then add to the complexity as well as add some other muscles in, kill a few more birds with one stone here, by having Laura turn this into a chop to PNF pattern. So what I'm going to have Laura do is she's going to take a little wider stance this time. I want her to reach down. She's going to internally rotate on this side, make sure this knee stays a little bit bent. Reach to the outside of this foot, and then she's going to stand up into a PNF pattern. All right, so let's see that. Good. All right, Laura, make sure you bend this knee. Good. So if I'm doing this, guys, you can see I'm getting a lot of the external rotators of her hip on this side, as well as some dynamic stretching for the external rotators of the hip on this side. She might feel it on her biceps femoris, that lateral hamstring on this side as well as getting some calf involvement, some peroneal involvement on that side, as well as increasing the dynamic flexibility of her shoulder. So there you go, guys. That's our dynamic pec and a little bit of subscapularis stretch. We went from a half kneeling position PNF pattern, half kneeling with reach to PNF pattern. We then did our standing PNF carry away, and then finally we did our chop pattern to PNF carry away. And of course, all of those progressions, we could go from a moderate or slower tempo up to a little bit quicker tempo. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you, Laura.